Hello friends, today I'm going to share with you insights based on detailed research which will change your thinking of history. So please wait till the end. I promise it will be worth it. The topic is Ancient Hindu Kingdoms of Southeast Asia, focusing on Indonesia. We will talk here about the supposed origin of Hinduism in Indonesia, the early kingdoms, the growth and expansion phase, the ancient legends related to Hinduism, Gunung Padang, which we will talk about later, and the end is the biggest mystery. Based on current proofs, Hindu influences reached Indonesia by the 1st century. Stories from Mahabharata have been traced in Indonesia to the 1st century. Use of Sanskrit words, Indian deity names, and religious concepts have been identified based on ancient temples excavated in Java, as well as ancient inscriptions such as the 8th century Kangal inscription confirming adoption of Shivalingam iconography, his companion goddess Parvati, Ganeshji, Vishnuji, and other Hindu deities by about 5th to 8th century AD. Ancient Chinese records also mention two main schools of Hinduism in Java and talk about Hindu kingdom of King Sanjaya, calling it exceedingly wealthy and that it coexisted peacefully with the Buddhist people. Ancient Hindu kingdoms of Java built many square temples and named rivers on the island as Gomti and Ganga. Kingdom of Kutai, Tarumnagar, Kalinga, Salaknagar and Kandis were among the early Hindu states established in the region. Yupa inscriptions, that is ancient Vedic sacrificial pillar written in Brahmi script during the 4th century AD are the earliest proofs of the Kutai kingdom. It named Sri Mulavarman as the king, who is supposed to be generous to Brahmins, giving gifts including thousands of cattle and large amounts of gold. Inscription named his grandfather as the earlier king, proving existence of Hinduism even before him. Another ancient inscription is found in Tamuranagar kingdom dated from the 5th century, naming Purnavarman as the most famous king of Tarumnagar. Have also marked an area known as Gunung Padang, which we'll talk about it in the later slides. The Mataram kingdom was a Javanese Hindu-Buddhist kingdom that prospered between the 8th and 11th centuries. It was established by King Sanjaya. According to foreign sources and archaeological findings, the kingdom seems to have been well populated and quite prosperous. The kingdom saw the growth of classic Javanese art and architecture reflected in the rapid growth of temple construction. Temples were constructed across the kingdom. Temples include Kalasan, Sevu, Borobudur and Prambanan, all close to the present-day city of Yogyakarta. At its peak, the kingdom became a dominant empire that spread across not only in Java but also in Sumatra, Bali, Thailand, Philippines and Cambodia. Most famous Hindu kingdom built was Prambanan in the special region of Yogyakarta. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the largest Hindu temple site in Indonesia and the second largest in Southeast Asia after Angkor Wat. It has a total of 240 temples, including 3 main temples dedicated to Shiva, Vishnu and Brahma. The Shiva temple is also adorned with panels telling the story of Ramayana and Bhagavad Purana. Majapahit was one of the last major Hindu-Buddhist empires of the region and was one of the greatest and most powerful empires in the history of Indonesia and Southeast Asia. It existed from 1293 to 1527 and reached its glory during the era of Hayam Wuruk, whose reign from 1350 to 1389 was marked by a conquest that extended throughout Southeast Asia. His achievement is also credited to his prime minister, Gajah Mada. Majapahit was an empire of 98 tributaries stretching from Sumatra to New Guinea, consisting of present-day Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Brunei, southern Thailand, Timor-Leste, southwestern Philippines. The first European record about Majapahit came from the travelogue of Italian Matteusi, a Franciscan monk. He mentioned that the king of Java had an impressive, grand and luxurious palace. The stairs and palace interior were coated with gold and silver, and even the roofs were gilded with gold. He also recorded that the Mongol emperors had tried to attack Java but always ended up in failure and managed to be sent back to the mainland. Buddhism, Shaivism and Vaishnavism were all practiced here, and the king was regarded as the incarnation of the three. The monarch and most of the royal family adhered to Hinduism, with certain emphasis on the cult of their own preferred main deity, either Shiva, Vishnu, Durga or other deities. Another important religious concept was Siva Buddha, a Japanese mix of Shaivism and Buddhism, which emphasized the similarity between Shiva and Buddha, with both described as ascetics and spiritual teachers, and this promoted harmony between the adherents of Shiva and Buddha. Sunda was another Hindu kingdom located in West Java. The name Sunda derives from the Sanskrit word Su, which means goodness or possessing good quality. The example is Suvarna, used to describe gold. Sunda is also another name for Vishnu. The term Sundar or Sundari also linked to the term. The history of the Sunda kingdom spanned for almost a millennium, between the 7th to 16th century. One of the few remnants in the 7th century Bojong Minje Hindu temple near Bandung. King Siliwangi or Prabhu Siliwangi was a semi-legendary king of the kingdom. Some Indonesian legends talk about Shiva, also known as Batara Guru, who ordered Brahma and Vishnu to fill Java with human beings. However, at that time, Java island was floating freely on the ocean. To make the island still, the gods decided to nail the island upon the earth by moving a part of Mahameru in Jambudweep and attaching it upon Java. The god Vishnu transformed into a giant turtle and carried a part of the Mount Meru upon his back, while the god Brahma transformed into a giant Naga serpent and wrapped his body around the mountain and giant turtle's back, so the Meru mountain can be transported safely to Java. When Shiva arrived at Java, he saw so many Java wood plants, thus the island named Java. Vishnu became the first ruler of Java and incarnated as the king named Kandyawan. He brought civilizations and upheld order and managed government, social and religious matters. The picture on the left hand side is of Mount Bromo. The name Bromo comes from the Japanese pronunciation of Brahma, the Hindu god of creation. At the mouth of the crater there is an idol of Ganesha, the Hindu god of wisdom, which is being worshipped by Javanese Hindus. On the 14th day of the Hindu festival of Yajna Kasada, the Tengaris people of East Java travel up the mountain in order to make offerings of fruit, rice, vegetable, flowers and sacrifices of livestock to the mountain gods by throwing them into the caldera of the volcano. Now the mystery deepens. On the island of Java, about 120 kilometers away from Jakarta, the answer to a huge mystery is buried in a mountain. Potentially, it could force humanity to rethink our entire history. Gunung Padang, which translates to a mountain field in the local language, appears from a distance to be hilltopped with a variety of large stone columns and terraces. Is there proof here of an ancient civilization much older than the Egyptian or Sumerian ones? According to researchers, preliminary radiocarbon dating suggests the first layer of the mountain could be approximately 3500 years old, the second layer somewhere between 8000 years old, and the third layer 9500 to 28,000 years old. Employing sophisticated ground-penetrating radar, seismic tomography and other remote sensing techniques, he and his team identified several layers of the structures buried beneath the surface. We are talking about the geophysicist Danny Hillman from the Indonesian Institute of Sciences, and he states that the site has been built as a giant pyramid by inhabitants of an advanced ancient civilization 20 to 25,000 years ago and could have had religious spaces. It appears to be a temple. Not all geophysicists appear to agree to this, but if it will change the timeline constructed for ancient civilizations. Now comes the most interesting part. In 2005 came a book, Atlantis, the Lost Continent Finally Found, by author Arcio Santos from Brazil. The author was highly regarded climatologist, geologist, and nuclear physicist. He was also a scholar of history, folklore, languages, and the occult. In his study of Atlantis, he draws on all the disciplines as well as the ancient maps, Plato's dialogues, folklore narratives to provide a compelling case regarding the disappearance of an entire civilization. Many people believed Atlantis to be located in Europe, maybe in Azores, Crete, Ireland, or Canary Island, or even in the Caribbean islands. However, as per him, Atlantis was in Indonesia, the region that drowned, and Indonesia was in fact a part of the ancient India. During last ice age around 9600 BC, also the date given by Plato, which corresponds to the end of the ice age and the younger Dryas event. Then the sea levels rose by 130 meters and lowlands of the Indonesian shelf submerged and disappeared under the sea. Only highlands and volcanic peaks remained. The ancient continent was larger than Asia Minor and Libya put together. He also believed Lanka also to be in the region that drowned. As per him, Hindus called the sunken land Tamraparna, and some knew it by the name of Kumari Kandam. Ancient flood legends talk about mile-high tsunami waves that could easily cause massive destruction. And thus, during this time, 70% of prevalent species became extinct, including 2-3 species of ancient humans. This was probably triggered by the Krakatau volcano, in which the explosion opened up Strait of Sunda, separating Java and Sumatra, and let in oceanic waters which flooded Atlantis. Also, it led to the worldwide flood myths. Based on Plato's book on Atlantis, the region was a tropical paradise, and considering it was during Ice Age when the global temperatures were 15 degrees cooler than now, and the present temperate regions were really cold. So these were all the characteristics of the region around Indonesia. Greek word for the island is Nessos, which is used by Plato, which refers to the region of Indonesia itself. Submerged land corresponds to Dvipa, as known by Hindus, and refers to the land Atlantis. Sanskrit and Dravidian origin of the word and myth suggest Hindu origin of the myth of Atlantis. Dvipa means Dvi Apa. Rather than meaning having water on two sides, the real meaning is two levels of water, one prevailing and the other one submerged. Another important thing is that the region is famous for floating pumice, that is the rock which floats on the sea, same as the possible floating rocks of the bridge connecting India and Lanka in Ramayana. So, can we connect Gunung Padang to this Atlantis? And is this the ancient Lanka? Who knows if this is true or not? Maybe it is really true. Thank you for watching the video, and do subscribe to the channel, like, share and comment to the video.